Hey folks, this is Best in Slot, and in tonight's video we're going to do a deeper dive and analysis and discussion on that brand new Prehistoric Planet Season 2 teaser trailer, returning once more to the Maastrichtian, the late Cretaceous. I know that's disappointed a couple of people, but it's worth noting that Season 2 has come about very, very quickly, and that could probably only happen because they had cut content and reusable assets from Season 1. Season 3, if it ever exists, fingers crossed, will hopefully take us to, say, the Jurassic or something like that. Let's get started. One of those returning species is the Hatsukopteryx. Now here we've got the female, she's wandering around this beach, potentially on Harteg Island, this late Cretaceous biome dominated by Hatsukopteryx. It was the apex predator of the region. And it's interesting to note though, the female here has the same banding on the neck as the male from Season 2. Now we're going to see two Hatsukopteryx in this scene, but the male in this scene does not have the banding, which would certainly suggest that this is a new pair of Hatsukopteryx and not ones we saw in Season 1. It's interesting that the banding has moved from the male to the female across seasons. Is it a mistake? Is it just a design change between Season 1 and Season 2, or potentially they're family members? Maybe we're seeing the sister or the mother or the daughter or something of the male from Season 1, and you know, this is just a genetic trait that they've got this specific banding. It is interesting to know. We're going to see them both together here, and you can see the male, in comparison to the Season 1 one, does not have that banding on the neck, but the crest is the same shape. However, now it's much more resplendent in its coloration. This is mating season, it's clicking and dancing a little bit, trying to impress the female. And these beautiful, beautiful patterns and colours have blushed forward on the crest and along the beak. And as we are back on Harteg Island, we could see the return of Zalmoxis, we could see the introduction of Rapidosaurus, for example, or even the introduction of my beloved Balar Bondog, which I don't know if I've ever pronounced correctly, but there you go. We could be seeing one of these already. If you look in the middle bottom of this screen, you can see there's a corpse between the two Hatsukopteryxes, assumedly brought forth by the male to impress the female. It's a gift, it's an offering of some form. It looks like it could be a Zalmoxis, which we did see with the Hatsukopteryx back in Season 1. Of course, with the travel capabilities of a Hatsukopteryx, it doesn't necessarily have to be. Maybe he's flown for many miles to bring her an exotic meal to impress her just a little bit more, you know? Next up we have Isosaurus, a titanosaur from the Lametta Formation in India. Now, fun bonus information here. NPC, which is the visual production company behind Prehistoric Planet, they posted a behind the scenes look at Season 1, and it was soon taken down. And in that behind the scenes footage we saw the initial work they did on Isosaurus. So it's really cool to see that it made it into Season 2 instead, and this is kind of what I was harking on about before. That was potentially planned for Season 1 but never made it in, and now instead we get it here on Season 2, and Season 2 happens a lot faster. And I suspect that's why that footage was taken down from YouTube. The presence of this scene also all but confirms that Rajasaurus will be making an appearance in Season 2, as that Abelosaurid was seen in the behind the scenes footage and was present in the same formation as Isosaurus. Let's hop back to the Isosaurus scene though. It's hard to not notice that volcanic activity in the background, and now what we're possibly seeing here, this is speculation, is the formation of the Deccan Traps. This is an igneous province in western India, and it was formed around 66.25 million years ago, so just before the KPG extinction event, right at the end of the Cretaceous. Now it's essentially, these days, a huge swathe of layered flood basalt, but upon formation it involved huge amounts of lava flow that surely would have been a danger to any possible species in the area, possible extinction of those species in the area. Regardless, we'll have to wait and find out more information, but it's really cool to see India finally represented in a paleo documentary like this. Now it's time for one of my favourite things, a tooth taxon. This dinosaur, confirmed by a Apple TV press release, at least we believe it's talking about this one, is Patricodon, a Troodontid from the Lance and Hell Creek formations. That Hell Creek mention is interesting. We've had several other dinosaurs from Hell Creek, like the Triceratops and T-Rex. We've had glimpses of a Pachycephalosaurus, or Stygimoloch. We're not going to get into that in this video, I think that's far too much. And that's all coupled with some slightly strange Twitter behaviour we've seen from Apple over the past couple of days, in that every single mention of Edmontosaurus, another Hell Creek native, on the teaser announcement for Prehistoric Planet Season 2 has been muted. I do think it's a weird little in-joke, but it's definitely been really amusing for Paleo Twitter at the very least, so there could be something going on there. Either way, that suggests that possibly the small bird we can see being hunted by Pectinodon here is possibly Stygianetta lofgreni, which is a basal waterfowl, a stem waterfowl, I believe, found in Hell Creek. Side note, I love we're seeing yet more Troodontids, and I really enjoy the crimson colouring and that very individualised placement of the feathers there on the tail, not to mention the very acrobatic leap, very evocative, beautifully animated. Next up we have a very quick scene showing what looks to be a Hesperonefe, I should have practiced some of these more, fishing. Now Hesperonefe were a late Cretaceous group of birds that were highly specialised as swimmers rather than flyers. The wings were barely present, but it had very powerful hind legs that allowed it to twist and dive through the ocean waters of North America, and a little bit of Russia for a couple of the species. It's fantastic to see more non-pterosaur and dinosaur activity in the series, and I really hope it's something that's pushed more throughout Season 2. Now, the school of fish here, I'm not going to posit a speculation about the species. Feel free to do so in the comment section down below, but this is what's known as a bait ball. It's a defense mechanism employed by oceanic fish, wherein they form a big ball and it's very shiny and distracting, and they can kind of dart around any incoming predators. Rarely effective these days, as predators have developed measures to target bait balls specifically. A lot of oceanic predators will actually try to make bait balls happen because they find it easier to hunt in that situation, but it's an interesting behaviour to see as far back as the late Cretaceous, 66 million years ago, and we're still seeing this behaviour come to life. In the next scene, a little baby sprints into the scene and is roundly bumped off his parent foot and tumbles over. It is agonizingly adorable, and if anything happens to this little guy, I will riot and I will be cancelling my Apple subscription forever, thank you. We know what happened to most of the babies in Season 1. It's not allowed to happen to this guy, and my little baby Triceratops has to survive as well. As for the species, based on both the coloration and the design of the foot on the adult on the left, I think this is likely the Velociraptorsaurine from Season 1. I've seen suggestions it's the same Troodontid from earlier, but I just don't see it in the coloration, which admittedly could change a lot, or in the head shape, and especially in the design of the foot on the left as well. Another brief aquatic clip next up. Very happy we're returning to the oceans, and it's Elasmosaurid. It's possibly the return of the Tuarangisaurus from Season 1. There are alternatives, however, and a popular choice I've seen is the introduction of the Moroccan Elasmosaurid, Zarathustra. And I will say that in a direct comparison, as you can see here, the new Elasmosaurid does appear to have a shorter neck and probably thicker body than our Tuarangisaurus did last season. We'll have to wait and see, of course, but we could be seeing something else here. I know Zara was a popular choice for Season 1 speculation as well. Then we have the return of the Nanuksorus, our Alaskan Tyrannosaurid. It saw a lot of hunting action in Season 1 as it battled to take down that Pachyrhinosaurus, and this season initially doesn't appear to be any different, as we see this immensely angry looking Nanuksorus, still looking fantastic from Season 1, and it's hunting down a herd of Ornithomimus, which you'll recognise again from Season 1, with that very distinctive grey and red coloration clearly visible. It does seem though we may see a different side to the Nanuksorus this season, as the promotional imagery for the season features the Nanuk instead of that swimming Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it shows it standing in the Alaskan wilderness as it nuzzles its adorable baby. Now, we don't see the baby in the clip, but I think we can assume the parent's hunting down the Ornithomimosaurs to bring food for its child, which I'm really excited to see in full motion as well, given these lovely patterns and colours. And look at it, it's so tiny, it's got tiny little arms, and it's adorable. I love it deeply, and again, no bad can come to the baby Nanuksorus, okay? Now let's be less cute and a teeny tiny little bit more disgusting. Nobody seems 100% sure what this next dinosaur is. It's something small, darting about as it is across the beach and scooping up hordes of flies into its gullet. It does look to be a Troodontid, and I think it's maybe the juvenile form of the Pectinodon we saw early on. The landscape is definitely similar between the two, and the extreme fluffiness, if you look at its sort of feathering along its back, it's very, very fluffy in its feathering, and that tends to be something that would suggest a juvenile or younger dinosaur. I'm definitely open to suggestions on this one. I think this is going to be up in the air for a while. I don't think we're too sure, but that was my current speculation. Our penultimate clip reintroduces the Quetzalcoatlus from Season 1, my personal favourite pterosaur. I felt the Quetz, given how incredible it is as an Atstarchid as well, maybe didn't get the screen time I'd have liked the first time around, so I'm glad to see it return. But it looks angry. Why does it look angry? Because it's staring down a goddamn T-Rex, that's why. Quetz and a saltwater strewn, you can see this kind of sparkling twilight effect on the Rex, are squaring up to each other on the beach, fighting over the humongous carcass of a sauropod, likely to be an Elasmosaurus, which is a titanosaur from North America. The Rex was clearly there first, it's defending the carcass. Was it responsible for the kill in the first place? Did something else kill it and the Rex scared that off? Or did the carcass wash up on the shore? Given the blood seeping into the sand you can see there in the bottom left, my inclination is the former. This is somehow the Rex's kill, and I'd be very curious to see if we get to see that as a hunt, because I'm wondering how that would go down. Either way, having these two gigantic creatures tackling each other is fascinating, and whilst I'm going to back the Rex in an engagement like this, it is worth noting the Quetz does have backup, as we saw in the previous frame. We finished today with my favourite scene, the return of Beelzebufo, our gigantic prehistoric frog from Madagascar. I love the coloration on this lad once again. That intricate pattern of fiery reds and yellows definitely calls into thought the warning coloration you'd see on modern frogs, poison tree frogs for example. And whilst last season we saw it as a capable ambush hunter, this season we see it scaring off an entire freaking sauropod. This is very likely Rapidosaurus, another titanosaur, this time also from Madagascar. Not particularly large as titanosaurs go, it's still gigantic in size compared to our little froggo, and yet it backs off and sinks further into the mud pit. It's likely Beelzebufo here is protecting its spawn, worried that Rapidosaurus would inadvertently trod on its children as it passed by. I really like seeing this dynamic though. It can appear maybe a little unrealistic, but it's one we see in modern animals all the time. How many times have you seen a gigantic dog be terrified and cautious around a tiny little kitten? It happens constantly. And that's it. Obviously, there's tons of stuff we haven't seen. This was a very short little teaser, and my fingers are tightly crossed that we managed to get a crocodilomorph of some form in the show. That'd be really cool, and a little bit more variety in the creatures in general. The locations of this season in particular look spectacular. I love the look of the Madagascar one, especially at the moment, and the CGI is as good as ever. So now we just need more content. I also want to give a little shout out to True Yi? Is it Yi or she? On my Discord server, who helped piece some of this together, and the wider paleo community on Twitter for being such massive nerds, obsessing over every frame of this little teaser, and I'm happy to be a small part of such a cool community. Let me know what other species you'd like to see in the comment section down below, and let me know which was your favourite of the ones we've seen so far. Throw me a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more Prehistoric Planet news and analysis, and I'll see you lovely folks next time. Thanks for joining me, cheers much love as always, bye bye.
Reaching out.